have access to so much technology and knowledge and apps, and you can just tweet someone that you appreciate, the celebrity, something, the chances of them answering back are pretty high. It's just off the cuff. It's just off the dome. I was doing some research and I saw this debate about people saying something that I know to be true is it's impossible. It must be a scam. It has nothing to do with none of my stuff. There's so many people that don't even want to try. I mean, seriously, are you afraid of failure into totally someone else? And they were just going off and going off and off and just saying, oh, it's got to be a scam. It's got to be this. There's no way. And I was having a conversation with some people who have seen this because I've seen it. And it was just like, mindset's everything. Mindset's everything. You could Facebook someone, because this is my favorite thing. I like to go ahead and Facebook a lot of my favorite authors and have conversations. And a lot of them, some of them get overwhelmed, but a lot of the ones that wrote books like years ago, nobody's talking to them. And I just find it like really interesting that I can just get on my keyboard, get in contact with someone I've appreciated for decades, and we're having this conversation. It's amazing. And I just started to think, why are people regressed? I'm beginning to think that information doesn't mean anything to most people because there's a great deal of it. There's a ton of it. It's out there. It's available. There's so many things you can do, so many things you can build. I mean, I'll just tell you, when you go through my training, my courses, I give you 5 to maybe 25%. I'm pretty much, I'm a map. That's what I am. I'm a map. I've got some things, figured out, some landmarks. I can say, hey, you can go over here, you can go over there, you can do this, you can do that, and I can dramatically cut your learning curve down on certain things. However, it still requires that you put forth work. And I've been having this conversation with a lot of people that are somehow just under the impression that everybody that is successful had some super secret saying advantage that they don't. And when I look at it, because I did a video recently, like I got started on YouTube, I will show you, and I just figured it out because I thought I had two views my first day. I didn't. That was me. They were counting. I was counting because I looked at it twice. I did not have any views my first day. Nobody knew I existed. And then I put another video up and another video up, and this went on for days and weeks. And now you have people who feel that if they do not have immediate success, that the thing is rigged and it's a scam and it's there's something really, really wrong. And I'm, as a person, just a little background, I dropped out of college and I was a special ed kid from first grade to sixth grade because I have a speech whatever the hell it is. See, there it is. It's acting up. A speech impediment. I have a speech impediment, and I'm mildly dyslexic. Was tested and stuff. However, because my grandmother, thank her very much, taught me how to read before I went to school, I never got behind. I couldn't really speak correctly, but I was in some ways ahead of my peers because back then, and I don't know how they do it now, but if you've got any type of learning disability or you can't speak correctly, you get tagged. And I got tagged, and what's funny, as I look back now, because I went to this place called Adamsville Elementary, and there was these trailers, and there was these paraprofessionals out there, and I would go there every day and sit with them and flip flashcards, and they would work on me with files and stuff. This went on for 6 years, and I think that many of you who haven't had such difficulty or such roadblocks or struggles are not accustomed to the real face of success, which is struggle. Is that's success is struggle. Your success isn't when you built the company, you sold it, and you cashed out and you got no. Your success was when it was 2 a.m. in the morning, you were working on that line of code, or you were working on that presentation, you had no money in the bank, shit was dire, and you pressed forward. That's when you became successful. At that moment when it was dark and nobody was there, there was just you and Scooby the cat, and you just kept pushing and pushing, and you got up and you didn't, that line of code didn't work. And then you didn't get the deal because your sales presentation sucked. Then you went back and it was 3 o'clock in the morning, you did it again, and then you wrote another line of code, or you wrote another line in your book, or you did another film. You did all this stuff, and it failed, and then you was like, okay, well, fuck that. I'm gonna do it again. And that's success. That is success. If you can do that, you're successful. Many people look at success as the end goal, but you can't get to the end goal without going through the struggle. And this is something that I'm talking about because I see so many people who literally, I mean, you know, and I sell information. I've got my own platform and everything, and I'll just tell you straight up, if you wake up every day and devote 1 hour, one hour to learning something from somebody for free, and see that, let's just talk about that. In your mind, it's free because you did not pull out your wallet or your credit card or slide it in your mind. And see, that's the thing, it's not free. So if you spent, let's use the word spent, an hour of your time every morning, which is a cost because your time is the most valuable thing that you have in life, because you don't get any more minutes. You get to a certain age and you die. So your time is finite. It ends. When you spend, which is currency, your time, spending your currency, that's you're spending a resource. So it's not free. You just didn't pull out your wallet and use your credit card or pay cash for it. But in your mind, because you did not use struggle cash, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute, that you felt it was free, and also because it was free in your mind, you did not value it. Because I've experimented with this for 6 years. I've got people who have paid me $25 and bugged the shit out of me 8, 9, 10, 12 emails, and I've got people who've given me 10 grand that I had to actually pick up the phone and say, are you okay? I mean, okay, we need to be working on, well, what's going, well, my mother got sick. Oh, okay, well, we'll reset the next month. No email, nothing. And it was just like, what's going on? But for those of you who fear failure in 2015, and when you use struggle cash, because, and I'm going to actually say I understand how you feel, because let's go back to the concept that your time is a finite resource and it's the most valuable thing you have. So you have traded your time for struggle cash. So you spent 8 hours of your life, really 9.5 to 12 when you factor in the commute to work, when you factor in the lunch hour, when you factor in all this other stuff, and when you factor in doing things outside of the scope of the job to prepare for the job, and you make, I don't even know what average income is. And I'm just going to say, what, $30 an hour? I would say middle income. I'm not going to say that's average. Say, no, let's make it 25. 25, that's $50,000 a year. So you have traded 160. Let's go ahead and add the other hours on. So you've traded 200 hours a month of your life for 50 G's, which is 2,400 hours of your life. So when you look at spending any of that struggle cash on anything, because you're so close to it, because you literally earn that money with blood, sweat, tears, oxygen. So it's real hard for you to part with it because that's your struggle cash. You can't. You struggle to get that. You spend a lot of precious resources to get that, and it's hard to part with. So, and this is something else. Like when I'm talking to a small business owner, or I'm talking to someone that's more successful, the small business owner, that wallet is that close. And when you're talking to them, it's like right there, because you know they're still in that struggle cash mode. But when you talk to someone who's removed themselves from that, and it's not necessarily how much money they make, it's mentally where they are at the moment. Because I got one client who doesn't make a lot of money compared to what he spends, but that's his goal. He's just trying to stay free. He does not want to build a billion-dollar company. He just wants to make what he's doing more efficient to free up more of his time because he's a time ninja. He was, he built a company. He was doing the 80 hours a week. He was doing that. Then he got down to where it was, 50, and he's like, and he saw a video and it's like, hey, how can I get this down to 25 hours a week? And I think he's at 35, and he's making a little bit more money. And see, his goal is totally different from many of y'all. He's not trying to ball out. He's just saying, if I can make the same money and cut my hours, that's a win. And see, he's an evolved person, whereas someone else would be like, uh, I mean, I paid you $5,000. I need to be making $200,000 off that. Otherwise, I just wasted my money. And it's just really, really interesting on how when you talk to people where they are, and I've just learned to identify people like, here on YouTube, the resale community, that's nothing but struggle cash. That's one of the reasons that they demand amazing information, content for free, because they have to have it. It's part of the survival. I mean, they gotta have it. I mean, it's imperative. They gotta have that shit because it's dark. I mean, I see people like, hey, and there's something else, and just for me to you, stop saying this. I don't want to make a lot of money. I just need a lot, so I can pay my bills. Okay, what about your kids in their future? You are not going to be able to provide for them or set them up doing that shit because you struggle and struggle cash, and your days are filled with struggle when they don't have to be. Because I see a lot of that, as if making substantial sums of money is evil and diabolical, and you're gonna change, and you're gonna start, you're not gonna have your friendly chuckle. You're gonna have that laugh. You're gonna become like Gargamel from the Smurfs and shit. That's just your own inefficiencies and inferiority complex running around the room screaming like, I don't think I can do it because I fear failure. That's what that is. Because I'm gonna tell you, once you get past struggle cash mentality and start to build yourself, and once again, this isn't about being a millionaire, or it's not about being a billionaire. It's about being time rich. That's it, time rich. I got people who want to pull me back into the matrix because, I mean, I'll just tell you, I got members of my family who think I'm a criminal. Like, let me get this straight. You sit at home and you talk on the internet and people pay you for that shit? There ain't no job for no real man. You need to be in the coal mine, or you need to be working at the steel plant, or driving a truck or something, earning a real wage, doing a hard day work for a hard day, honest dollar. That internet stuff, that's just kind of, it's suspect, son. It's suspect. I mean, and that's one of the reasons that there's one side of my family I just don't fuck with anymore. And I got a cousin, we talk about it, and she's like, why are you? I was just like, there's no use for people who will betray me in my circle of life. There's none. Yeah, we got the same last name. So what? It means nothing to me, because that's another thing. You're gonna, as a business owner, and that's something I think a lot of people are struggling with, really, that they've got fucked up family, and you've always been told there's nothing better than family. All right, I'm going to give you some new definitions. There's nothing better than a great family. If you got a great family, you got an awesome family, you got a wonderful family that's not rife with dysfunction, then okay, yeah, that's a beautiful thing. And everyone doesn't have that. When you meet someone who has that, and you go in and you see it, it's a beautiful thing. But once again, everyone doesn't have that. And due to the proliferation of single-parent households, a lot of people aren't going to get that. It's not happening. So if you got the fucked up family, and you don't have to, like me, like I said, there's only one half of the family I deal with. My 97-year-old Aunt Bunny called me last night. We talk, and some other people talk, but they get me, and I get them, and, she works on me. But essentially, part of your success is realizing that everyone is not going with you. I don't care how mad you want it for them. I don't care how much you feel that you owe it to them. They are mentally not prepared to move where you are. And once they reach a certain age, unless there's some just life intervening event, they're probably going to stay that way until they take the big dirt nap. regardless of how much you love them, regardless of how much you want the best for them. They're just not going. They like what they're doing. They want to stay there. And you got to really, really compartmentalize that. So next time someone tells you there's nothing like family, you say, you're right. There's nothing like a great family. Put a qualifier in there. Like I will say something else. The people with the most education make the most money. 100% true. Now, that brings us to the question, what is education? If you're like, well, the people who make the most money have a college degree, then you go empirically and look at all these folks who have a graduate degree, some have doctorate degrees, and their asses are working at Starbucks. That equation does not factor out. Now, if you go with the people like me, once again, I dropped out of college, but I never stopped learning. I just found this thing that's called ASMR, audio supplement, which is fascinating the shit out of me. It's a little weird because it's all of these really attractive women, and they're like, "Hey, how you doing?" They're speaking in the soft voice and stuff, and I'm just like, "What is this?" And being intellectually curious, I'm reading up on it. I'm looking at it because it's just astounding to me that this thing even exists. I never knew it existed, but that's part of my learning trajectory. I love learning new stuff. I learn, meeting new people. I got clients in Israel, and sometimes after we talk, I'm like, "So what's going on in Israel?" And they tell me, and then I learned that you just don't immigrate to Israel. There's a process where they bring you in. And there's just so many things that you get to learn when you remain intellectually curious and don't think, well, I'm grown. And so that's another reason that you fear failure. You're grown. Grown means you're done. There's no more. And whenever I would meet a chick and she used that word, I'm grown, I would like, okay, either you're just pussy or I'm going to leave you the fuck alone because there's no way I can build with you. You cannot build on something that's already, built. When they want to build a new building in the space of one building, what do? They demolish that building that's there. They have to because they can't build onto it. They can't build with it. They have to get rid of it. That's why these implosions where they crumple down the building and it falls in on itself. That's why you can't build with something that's corrupt or deficient or doesn't have your perspective. You can't build with that. And that's something else. Another reason people fear failure. I think you inherently know where you are and what you're dealing with, but it comes to a point where you're not brave enough to claim the life that you could have. You take the life that is given to you or the life that you were presumed that you should have. And that's what happens. So when you are going to duel and debate with people about things that they know to be fact, they're going to think that you're an idiot. And I've learned not to even get into it and say it. Every now and then I'll let loose. But when someone tells me that you can't make money on YouTube or using YouTube or it's only for kids, and I'll be 49 this year, and I'm just sitting there like, but that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Who told you? Well, my mama and my uncle Robert. My uncle Robert said, that internet ain't nothing but some fuckery. It ain't nothing but the devil. And the devil is a liar. You got that shit going on. And I was just like, oh, man. I will tell you, I got one uncle who was just as fucked up as he want to be, but he was funny as hell. I'll tell you a dirty story he told me. We were at a barbecue, right? And he just called me over and he said, "Hey, let me talk to you." I was like, "Hey, what's going on?" And we called him Freeman. And he's like, "You're getting up in there, you got a little hair on your chin. I need to tell you a few things. Whatever you do, don't you eat no pussy." And at this point, I was at that age where I was a little awkward. No, not a little, extremely awkward, and was afraid of girls, 100% terrified. So he was talking about something that was like 8, 9 levels way above my comprehension, and I was just like, whoa, 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 where did this come from? Then he went on. It's like he had this what was it, Pabst Blue Ribbon, I think. He took a swig and he was like, "Yeah, real men, they don't need that to why. You remember that, okay? You remember that." And I said, "All right, I'm going to remember it, Freeman. I will remember it. Thank you." Then later on, when I had a better understanding, I looked at Freeman's life. Freeman worked at the Jim Danny Grits factory in Birmingham. He drove a Cadillac, had a house. He was probably 290, 300 pounds, and he's like 5'5", I believe. And he died prematurely, and he died alone. So when I was growing up and looking back, I started to consciously say, well, that advice didn't work out too well for him, so I'm just not going to follow it. And that's all I got to say on that. But essentially, you've got to learn how to filter out some of this advice that's given in love, because he didn't mean no harm. He's just trying to help me out based upon his level of understanding of life. He was just trying to help me out. He was just, he's a good dude, but I just looked at how he chose to live his life based upon his philosophy, ideals, and concepts, and I didn't want that life. And I'm not going to say it was a bad life, but dying alone, that's not how I want to go out. But hey, some people want to do it that way, and that's just part of filtering. And another thing about being afraid of failure in 2015. Stop taking advice from people who don't have shit. A motherfucker that doesn't have anything, and I'm not talking money. You can meet someone who has no worldly possessions, but he's traveled all over the world and he's rich in knowledge. You can meet someone who doesn't have a lot of money, but they have special talents. But when you meet someone who does nothing, they're not remarkable in any regard, any shape, fashion, but they got all this advice for you that doesn't work for them, do not listen to them. That's like broke people telling, like, this is how you get rich. I have never seen so many broke people who have no concept of how money works, monetary system works, international finance works, how corporations work, who have all of this advice from me about how I should run my business. When you lift up the skirt and you see that the bones are clacking together because there's no meat on them, because the skirt's got a big ass hoop to make you think there's hips and shit under there, but they bony as hell because there are no resources. I'll tell you another little story. I stayed in this girl. She was an attorney, and I thought she was balling out of control. Nice jag, all this other stuff. Now, I had learned the art of keeping my mouth closed about my money. We go out and everything, we do stuff. Later on, after we broke up, I found out so much shit. How she got to Italy was on the buddy pass, just so many things. And I think that $280,000 student loan debt, that was another detriment to me, because I was like, oh, well, it's nice knowing you, but I got to go. I was just sitting there like, and there was just advice that was given to me from that person. And I was just like, I can't listen to that. I can't listen to that. And, I even go a little deeper. Like, can I teach you how to be a billionaire? Nope, I'm not a billionaire. Can I teach you how to be time free? Damn, Skippy. That's what I'm doing right now. It is, 8:30 in the morning. I got up. I did my thing, meditated, consumed quite a bit of water, because that's a new thing. I'm trying to drink as much water as possible early in the day to stay hydrated, because I got a problem with being dehydrated. And then I'm going to start working, because, I get to do what I choose to do with my time. And that's how I want it. I think, once again, time is the greatest resource we have. And for the most part, I've managed to, last 7 years, pretty much keep it where I'm just doing what I want to do. And to me, that's just the greatest thing. I mean, you may not want this. You might want to be a billionaire. I can't help you. You might want to be you might want to start a company in another country. Possibly can help you there. But the thing is, when you're listening to people, listen to yourself. And if you're talking like someone who is terrified of success, ask yourself why. And I can tell you one part, because it's going to require that you change, and it's going to require that you make certain personnel decisions in your life. In the human resources department of your life, you will start to make some different assignments of positions. People that were permanent hire, they're going to go to independent contractor or per diem or temp, which means you holler at them when you holler at them. Oh yeah, it's just don't put in the comments, hey man, I need to holler at you. That's not going to work. Even though, yeah, I have a lot of time and I'm chilling and stuff. I am not going to talk to someone who has no agenda. Yes, I want you to have an agenda. I want you to be contrived. If you want to talk to me, contact my assistant and go through that, because that's one of the things that I started doing, and it's really reduced a lot of email clutter, inbox chaos, because I understand where you are. I was homeless. Let me just say that again. I know what it's like to be broke. I know what it's like to be homeless. I know what it's like to not have any food, to have your stomach all wrapped up in knots because you haven't eaten in 3 days. I know what that feels like, so I know what the struggle is. But for you to assume that I am going to adopt your problem, because you have a problem, with a higher level of rigor than you are out of your damn mind. And that's another thing, because I did the video. We need to talk. If you are not looking at your circumstances with the high level of effort, concentration, why the fuck should I care? That's your problem. Let me go once again. I was homeless. I had to get out that shit by myself. I had one friend who's still my friend to this day who visited me in that bullshit. One. I had other people like, hey, I'll holler at you. We can meet up somewhere else, but I'm not coming over there, not to that neighborhood. One. One friend. And I have to be grateful to have that, because those were brutal days. And with your problem that you have, you've got to really start looking at why you have it and why you're afraid of success. There's a lot of work that you have to do, because like I said, I just changed all my training around, because there is a certain rudimentary level of expertise you need to have that you can get for free. And you can study online and get all this stuff. But see, this is what that's going, and I use the word free just to mess with you, because you're spending your most important resource, which is time, but you don't even know how to organize the information. Once again, I never stop learning. I read a book about super learning, how to learn better. So there's many of them out here. You've got these websites, you've got these YouTube videos, but you don't know how to learn. You don't know how to perspective, put stuff in a certain place, then take that information, formulate a plan, and put it into action. So you're very good at acquiring knowledge. Your brain's just crammed with it, but you can't apply it. And if you apply it, you don't apply it with the right way. And that's where I come in. I'll give you a plan. I'll give you a way to make this thing happen a little quicker, which was still going to be some time. But that's the whole thing, because this is the reason I'm doing this whole hangout, is I see that so many people who are really smart topically, but when it gets down to the deep brain level, it ain't there. Because that shit hurts. Thinking, planning, stressing, going over that stuff, that shit is work. It is mental work. When I'm like doing that stuff, after about an hour or two, I have to go take a walk because my brain's like on fire. But if you don't think like that and push yourself to thinking where you get headaches, you're not pushing your brain as hard as you could. Just saying. So with that, I'm going to end this. Wish you a good day. And yeah, I'm going to make a deal for the 10 people. Yeah, well, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do something different. There is a new platform that I've built. And you can either buy the class, or you can buy the whole platform. 10 people. What I'm going to do, and there's a time limit. I'm going to be uploading Disruptive Money, or parts of it. It's going to take me a while. I will give you 50% off. However, you can't put this in the comments, and you must buy, because I'm going to put an expiration date on the coupon. So just send Amy, as like I saw Glendon's in the video offer on Disruptive Money. I want 50% off. Disruptive Money, the course is $299, so it's going to be $150. And she'll send you in a link. And it's going to have like a very short time period, like maybe hours. So hours after you get it, if you don't buy it, it's just going to disappear. So with that, have a good day, and I will see you in the next session.